Yo, what's going on? What's going on, everybody? Hope you guys are all having a fantastic start to your weekend. As usual, always needing to do cleanup. As usual, the damn why is the I have to do it again and again. Ugh. That's such a. All right, what about, there we go. How about, let me just fix this real quick. Because you guys know how we start our streams. We always fix this, you know? That's what we always do. We always fix the damn graphics. You know what I mean? It's just what we do out here. And you know what's so hilarious? I literally fixed this part at least, just before we went live. And I guess it didn't work. There we are. There we are. All right, we're live. What's going on? What's going on, everybody? What's going on, Chug, in the chat? What's going on? He says, bro, how do you feel about the results from this morning? I'm assuming Chug is referring to the South Korea versus Brazil game, which we can talk about in just a bit. We will get into that. We got J-Rod in the chat. What's going on, J-Rod? The rest of the chat doesn't seem to be showing up here. For some reason, I only see one comment from J-Rod. I hope that gets fixed up in just a second. But yeah, just wanted to swing by and just see what's up. What's going on, everybody? It's I say it a lot, but it's been a minute. It has been a minute. I know that we have been doing a few live streams here and there, but today I thought I'd do just a calm one, just a casual one, and just chat with you guys a little bit about, you know, how I feel about just life. You know, it's just kind of what I wanted to do today. Nothing too serious, nothing too crazy. Just chat with where I am and hopefully hear where you guys are and, you know, catch up. Chuck in the chat says, I'm glad to see my Madrid boys doing good, but how do you feel? Well, it was nice to see South Korean fans getting to see some world-class Brazilian football talent. I don't necessarily think they were, you know, playing out of the park. I actually think South Korea was quite poor in terms of, I don't even want to say style, in just terms of what they were set out to do. It was a huge shift in the way that they played here in America, actually, against USA and Mexico. They were much better here than that game against Brazil. But with the greatest respect to USA and Mexico, those teams are not Brazil. And with Carlo Ancelotti at the helm now, if you think about it, if you deep it, right, Brazil is talented. Brazil is stacked. You know, let's just look at that squad real quick. While we're on the topic, let's just talk about it for a second. You know, let's just look at it. Where is it? Where's the? Oh, is it only World Cup games out here? Let me see if I can. Ow! Oh, Chow, you were talking about the U10 game, or you talking about the Brazil game? Well, let's talk about the Brazil game first, and then just kind of, you know, we'll talk a little bit about. Like clicking on the wrong things here. Boom. Okay. Let me see if I can get this sorted up here. Boom. Okay. Boom. Yeah, so South Korea actually, funnily enough, South Korea is also playing with a back three or back five, however you want to phrase it. But look at this side, man. Look at this side. They had Rodrigo in the 10 with Cunha up front, Vinicius Jr., and Esteval, who I actually thought was sensational alongside Rodrigo. But this team was just... look at that, man. Casemiro and Bruno Guimaraes, that double pivot all of a sudden now looks sick because Guimaraes is doing the dirty work and Guimaraes is doing the sort of the cleaning up at the back. And then that leaves Casemiro to do a bit more the freedom role, roaming forward, kind of being a bit more of that 8. You know, he might lack the legs, but damn, Casemiro and Bruno Guimaraes, whoo, that seems so much more balanced in my book. And it actually, It uplifts Casemiro, whether you like it or not. When you're putting Casemiro alongside Bruno in a midfield two, now that's a very different feel. But with Rodrigo at the 10 and Guimaraes, like imagine we put Bruno here at the 10, right? And then we put right here, we put a Guimaraes for United. Ooh, we would eat. We would eat. Yeah, somebody said the fullbacks. Who is that though? Henny says LB and left back lacking though. Yeah, well, Vitinho I've heard of before because I did follow Botafogo during the Club World Cup. Douglas Santos I don't really know too much about. Zenit St. Petersburg, okay. Yeah, but who cares about these three when you have Militao, Gabriel? Yo, I don't care what you say. This side is stacked. This side is absolutely stacked. But yeah, man, the U20 game I actually didn't get to see. I only saw a very bit of it towards the end where Korea scored that penalty. But tell me if you guys have been following the U20s. Let me know. At least with respect to South Korea, I have no idea. But yeah, man. Hope you guys are all well. Let's see who's in the chat here. We got Child of God in the chat. We got Katie Marie in the chat. What's going on? We got Murph in the chat. What's going on? Jay Kim in the chat says manager's the problem. I'm assuming Jay Kim is referring to Hong Myung-bo. I thought Hong Myung-bo would be a little bit more cooler and like in person. He was stone cold. He was stone cold throughout everything. Like he just exists stone cold. You know what I mean? Ray in the chat, what's going on? Daniel Berry Sports Highlights, what's going on? Ray says, long time no see, John. You've been gone for a while. Last time you went live, Boston Red Sox were still in the playoffs, and so were the Yankees. So I was, being here from New York, sometimes the algorithm feeds me baseball stuff from New York. And the New Yorkers were not happy at all, especially the Yankees fans. I don't know nothing about baseball, so... let's see. Ray says, who has the answers? Apparently all the pundits and content creators immediately after a match. They are always right. Let me just answer that from my perspective at least. Let me just say that, how I feel. I don't ever sit here thinking that I have the answers. Sometimes I might joke around saying that, what I'm saying is blah, 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 but I never ever sit here thinking that I have the answers. I always have created content, just sharing my feelings about how I feel. It's a very different perspective from, do I have the answers kind of vibe. But the reason why I titled this stream the way I titled it, Who Has the Answers, is because I thought y'all might have the answers, and I wanted to ask y'all for your opinions, Vispo in the chat, what's going on, Vispo? He says, you do not say what you feel. I always say how I feel. I actually think that's why y'all support me, is because you guys feel the genuine authenticity when I speak how I feel. Do y'all disagree with that? I actually think I do. Do you disagree? You're going to have to let me know. Wait, I'm just trying to see. I'm just trying to center myself in the camera here. But why is my white here? I'm just going to fix this real quick. It's bothering me. Let me just fix this real quick. Boom. Boom. No, this is center too. What the? Whatever. Bald Ball says how to stop gooning. That's definitely not what I was asking for. I don't know what the hell is gooning. Like what is that? What is gooning? People, all these new terms and stuff. I don't know. I can't keep up. What the hell is gooning? Samuel Mark Ingram in the chat says, when are you next going to be at Old Trafford? Hopefully sometime this year. Hopefully. Thinking about making my way out there one more time before the end of the year. That's for sure. But yeah, let me get back on track. I want to just kind of talk to you guys a little bit about why I titled this the way I titled it. I kind of wanted to share with y'all what's been going on, and I kind of wanted to share with y'all what's been happening, and just kind of, talk to y'all. Because more so than anything, the community and how you guys feel and what you guys want to see and all those things are very important to what I do here. So I definitely want to hear your thoughts and concerns and comments and feedback. So please get involved in the comments, of course. Let's see. J Rod says, life's been good right now. Just started my new position. Just got promoted to a project admin. Ah, congratulations, J Rod. W for J Rod. Love the new role, but I don't like that I have to commute. Hey, man, you know, I hear a lot about people like having to return to work and stuff like that, and I'm having to do the same thing. So I feel your pain, but you know, it is what it is. I hope that it's a conversation. It's another long one, which we really can't get into today. But all right, man, you take your losses and you take your wins. You know. DB Cooper in the chat says Kim Till in the house. DB Cooper, I saw your comment about how you said that I look like Kim Till in the picture of me in Paris. Kim Till, let me see. It's just so y'all also, just so you guys let me see if you guys agree. Oh, there's so many black and white photos of Kim Till. Like, he's gone. He's still with us. What the hell? I love black and white photos, but when it's like portrait shots, I always like, my heart's like just gets scared for a second. I'm like, what the hell? Okay, so let me see what y'all think, okay? Because DB Cooper seems to agree. I mean, seems to think that this is who I look like. And you guys, I will actually use that exact photo so you guys can pick. Kim Till is a legend. Yeah, I used to listen. The fact that I used to listen to his songs even when I was in Korea just goes to show how long he's been in this thing for a minute. Chuck says U20 has been great, especially watching Mexico play so much better than the senior team. That's great. That's great. I thought Mexican. Look, when I saw Mexico play in Nashville, so many of the Mexican fans were like, we're not playing so good right now, and you know, I don't really follow Mexican national team like that, so I don't really know too much. But look, from what I saw, it looked good. From what I saw, it looked lively. But shout out to my Mexican familia on here. Let me see. Boom. Okay. Okay, so let me see if I can pull up both. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna share this up, okay? Let's switch. All right. Chat, comments, y'all decide. Does that look like me? Or did that look like me? This was me. Oh my goodness, this thing is getting on my damn... Oh, no wonder. Oh, it's because I didn't frame the thing. I didn't frame the green screen right. That's why. Yeah, well, that's Kim Till. 너의 사랑은 나의 눈이 내리면. I'm so tired. I can't even sing. But yeah. Anyways, DB Cooper, you got what you wanted, yeah? Ray says, John, I had to stop subscribing to a bunch of United content creators. They just made me feel so down and about everything, even wins. It's only good vibes, John. Damn. I mean, I'm grateful you didn't unsubscribe to me, but you know, I kind of understand where you're coming from. I kind of understand where you're coming from. I think a lot of United fans in particular are probably exhausted and feel some type of, you know, exhaustion towards everything because, you know, it's not been good times for United fans, and I completely understand how you feel. Bald Ball says, well, if I say yes, well, nah, don't worry about it. Murph in the chat says, okay, sincerely, who has the K-pop Demon Hunter soundtrack? I've been hearing so much about K-pop Demon Hunters. Is that the vibe? Is everybody watching that? Is everybody watching that? Katie Marie says T.O.P.'s album is going to drop soon. Really? He's making a comeback. That's awesome. Vish says, I forgot what short-haired John looks like. Yo, Vish has been Vish has been here for a minute. I prefer like this is a little too long for me. Actually, I'm gonna have to go visit the barber soon and get a little bit trimmed up because this is feeling a little bit too long. Um, Chuck says, "Yeah, it's been pretty good. My first time listening to K-pop other than Cupid. Oh, that's cool, man. That's cool. Well, let's just kind of just jump right into my question, and it will update you on what's been going on, and then we'll get into the question. Um, I'm not afraid to say this, or I'm not shy to admit this, but I do genuinely believe that I have hit some sort of burnout, or at least in the early phases of burnout. It was a thing that I was quite scared about, and I was, the Korean word is 상담, which is I was requesting counsel and asking for advice from a lot of other content creators and just sort of the people in the industry about burnout because I was afraid that I would get burnt out. And you know, I heard a lot of different things from different creators. Some creators were like, "Yo, everybody's gonna hit burnout. You just kind of gotta keep your head down and grind through it." Some other creators were telling me, "John, like if you feel burnt out, it is a no go. You have to stop and relax, and you have to take a step away from it for a bit, and then reset and find a way to balance yourself." And you know, I've heard everything. I've heard different opinions on both sides of the spectrum, and I do hear both sides of it. But before I knew it, I got to this point where I truly feel like I think I'm burnt out. I don't want to get too into like this whole like depressed state talking to you guys about how I wake up exhausted, and I don't need to get into any of that stuff, but I do feel a bit of that creeping in. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. It's been very exhausting, and it's been hard to keep up. It's been hard to keep up the lifestyle of trying to maintain my career, maintain content, which is actually also a career as well. And it's been 4 years of just insane nonstop intensity, and finally, I do feel quite burnt out, and it is quite scary. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Chuck says, "Bro, the gym helps. Trust me." Well, I do take a walk every day, and I do work out to some degree. I have a cable machine at home that I use, so it's not as intense. But I do still have the back issue, which I am dealing with. So I won't be. I think another reason that attributes to this sort of like feeling of burnt out is because I also haven't been able to go play football, like soccer, in such a long time. I've been dealing with a back injury. It is spinal, it is disc related. So it's one of those things that's been keeping me away from football, which is, my one of my main forms of stress relief. It is one of those things where I just like expend all of this like negative energy and like convert it into kinetic energy and to play football. And I've not been able to do that for a while. So I've kind of been sort of stuck working and only working since May, really. I mean, yeah, I've been traveling a lot for work and content and stuff like that, but from in the perspective of my personal leisure and luxury, it's not been that case at all, and it's been quite difficult. Um, but yeah, you know, I'm sure this feeling of burnt out probably gets attributed to a bunch of things. And if you guys are a lot younger in the comment section, you might not understand or relate, but maybe some of the older folks in the chat can maybe relate. Maybe I am hitting that age where I'm finding it harder and harder to just grind through it. I am maybe in this position where I'm just running out of juice, running out of that chakra. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure you guys can probably notice as well that I've not been going live quite a bit, and I just don't have the energy, and and funny enough, I actually don't have the time. When I do have the time, I'm out here, trying to catch up on content, catching up on work, catching up on life, and then before you know it, I am absolutely cooked, and it stops me from being able to do anything, and it sucks, but. I can't help but also feel like I've been somewhat of a failure because I thought I'd be at a certain point where at least I'd be able to convert to some sort of part-time job and still manage to float, as a creator, financially to be able to sustain myself and to live, doing content and working part time. It would have definitely freed up a lot more of my time and given me a lot more energy and cleared up my head a little bit. But unfortunately, I have not been successful enough in many ways, and I am here, still doing both. And I'm not sad or yeah, I'm not sad about that because I do believe that I've given it my 110%. But especially with Jimmy leaving as well, it's been one of those things where I've had to sort of cut down on a lot of the content and cut down on the volume. And it has shown that it has taken it, and all of that expending of time and effort and energy has taken a toll on me. And it's something that I've been thinking about a lot, especially the past month or so. I've realized that my personal life just you know what I mean? It's been tough. Racist man, getting old sucks, man. I have bad plantar fasciitis, so I couldn't do cardio for a while, which led to a gut, which led to a lower back problem, which means I can't do cardio. Damn, I'm sorry to hear that, Ray. I'm sorry to hear that. It ain't easy. It definitely ain't. Katie relates. Dai says, I am understanding you. Thank you for that, Dai. Ray says, John, no worries on the content. Your shorts are a great connection as necessary. Personally, I do I do miss the match-alongs. I do miss the match watch-alongs. Other channels just complain about Sir Jim and Amarim and Bruno. Another thing I also, think about when I'm doing the live watch-alongs is because, for a while we were doing the watch-alongs in the studio. And that is obviously because I don't want to disturb my neighbors, not just on a personal, desire to not disturb my neighbors, but I'm pretty sure it is a very big inconvenience and probably some sort of disturbance to the livelihoods of people around here. If I'm sitting here screaming and raising my voice and things like that, of course my neighbors would be disturbed and uncomfortable. And I don't want to do that to them, I wish I lived in a single home where I lived in an isolated place where I could scream all I want and nobody can hear me or whatever. But I live in a multi-complex area where there's a lot of people around me. And these walls aren't thick at all. So it is one of those things that I have to be very considerate about. Which made me think maybe I might actually be better off doing not doing watch-alongs and maybe, doing live stream, like doing man on the street kind of live stream. So I would maybe just do the watch-alongs inside a bar or a pub or something. But, it is one of those things where it's kind of hard to also decide, because now if I decide that, then I have to re-strategize my content and my time, and then I'm left again doing more work. So it is something a little bit more difficult to kind of break down. But yeah, no, you know how much I enjoy doing the watch-alongs. You know how much I enjoy doing that. But if I can sit here and hear my neighbors talk about everything and their voice is quite mellow, it means that if I'm screaming, they can hear everything. And I feel so bad because I'm pretty sure my neighbors are trying to rest or relax or just live, without having to hear some dude across the room screaming, you know what I mean? But the intention, well, J-Rod and Ray and to everybody asking about the live watch-alongs, the intention is that at some point I will be able to go back to doing some sort of a live watch-along, and that would be cool. That would be awesome. But if I do those, and I'm sure I'll still do those, don't get me wrong, but it will have to be at this volume, which means that it won't be the same style of watch-alongs, which is what you guys are probably used to. And if I'm sitting here, speaking this quietly, it won't feel the same. And, I don't, from a production standpoint, I don't want to compromise on how I want to do a show because of other things. Obviously you have to pivot and adjust because life ain't going to just, do everything the way you want to, but at least from the perspective of live watch-alongs, there's a specific way that I want to do that, and there's obviously non-negotiables. If I'm going to sit here and be like, oh, he scored a goal, like I can't express my ecstatic joy and the feeling of scoring a goal and whatnot, and without having to and those things are difficult. You know what I mean? So that is what's going on, at least with respect to the watch along. So I do apologize that I won't be able to get you guys those watch alongs that you guys have been wanting for such a long time. Stephanie Griffith in the chat. She says, yo, John, hope you're well. I'm doing great, Steph. Thank you for checking in. Man United Celtic in the chat. He says, hi, John. Love your background. Thank you. Somebody was like, why didn't you do fall? Because it's only fall. I was thinking about that. I was thinking about, the foliage and the leaves falling and stuff like that. But I kind of wanted to do this one because this is my dream setting, retiring by the mountainside somewhere in northern Canada or Switzerland or somewhere, just chilling, drinking hot cocoa. You know what I mean? KPBQ vibes, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I picked this. But yeah. And I love snow. I love seeing snow. It's beautiful. I think snow can be scary at times. And the older I get, the less I become attracted to snow. But that's one thing I still want to maintain. Because I always used to think when I was younger, I was like, damn, why do adults hate snow so much? I'll never forget that feeling when I was young, living in Queens. I was like, I might have been in like 3rd or 4th grade. And we got our first snow in. And we still had to go to school. And I was like, snow is so awesome. It's so fun. And why do my parents hate it? And why do adults hate it? As you get older, you learn these things. My adult business owner, it impacts your business. You have to do more work, going to clean up your own house, going to clean up the front of your store. Stephanie Griffith says, hot cocoa, not Glühwein. Is Glühwein that crazy drink that the Germans drink? That isn't it alcoholic? Or isn't that for Christmas or something? I feel like I saw it on an episode of The Office. Glühwein. But anyways, thank you for that, Man United Celtic. I actually haven't even had a chance to talk about the backdrop, but yeah. J-Rod says, sir, you are still young, full of energy. Wait till you get a family going. Actually, that's another thing I want to talk about, J-Rod. Family is something that I've always also prioritized for a long time. And for a while, my main dream and passion of trying to create a sustainable content sort of as a career, while that has taken, precedence for the past few years, it almost made me remember, especially recently, that I've always just prioritized wanting to have my own family. So that's something that I've been thinking about for a while too. Bailey Young in the chat says, love seeing the emotions in your Ian Wright, Roy Keane video. Much love. And Bailey, thank you for that, man. I appreciate you. I got so much time for people like Ian Wright and Roy Keane. We don't know them personally, so we can only understand what we get from face value. But it takes a lot of energy and it takes a lot of effort to do those, to even put up a personality. And what I mean by that is I've seen people that, I don't want to say fake a personality, but they put out a lot of energy just to provide, put out positive energy. And for some people, it's easier. For some people, it's harder, And even that alone is massive respect from me. And if Roy Keane and Ian Wright, I would like to genuinely believe that they are good, awesome people, which I think they are, for sure. But even if it wasn't, and they're just doing that, just to, smile in front of cameras, whatever it is, they have shown plenty for me to believe that Roy Keane and Ian Wright are awesome people. I would love to meet Roy Keane and Uncle Ian. Ian Wright gives me the energy of that uncle that I always wanted, With the greatest respect to my uncles, I love my family, but my uncles suck. So I'm just kidding. I love my uncles. They're just boring as hell, J-Rod says, I think that's what it is. We just miss Jimmy. I don't miss Jimmy one bit. What's the one I'm trying to use here? There we go. Vish says, you're still young, John. You do what you need to do, bruh. Burnout happens in all stages. Heck, I even did so after 2 years of uni. It happens. It puts things into perspective going forward. And that's a good thing. You're right, Vish. Yes, you're right. It does put things into perspective. Absolutely. But I would love it if I lived in a position, if I was in a position in my life where I didn't have to face a burnout to have things into perspective. Yes, sometimes that's the only way for things to be clear in front of you, but it's just been tough, DB Cooper says, John ain't down with Jimmy no more. Yeah, I ain't down with him. Screw him. No, actually, funny enough, I don't have a personal Instagram. Like, I don't use my personal Instagram at all. So I don't really see what Jimmy uploads. I don't really see what any of my friends uploads, and I don't really I'm not able to keep up that much. I'm already using social media so much on my content side of things that I don't really have the time to get on my own. And if I could avoid looking at my phone, I will, because I have to be on it for a while. But the last time I saw Jimmy's stuff, it looked like he was having the time of his life, and I'm sure I don't exactly know how he might be feeling, because he is, like I said before, he is in uncharted territory. He's literally experiencing a whole different side of life. He's now living alone. He's away from his family. He's on the other side of the country. So he's doing things that he's never experienced before. So I'm super happy for him, and I'm glad that, from what I can see, at least, he's at least enjoying some of the things that he's doing. So I'm very, very happy for him. Very happy. If anything, I've been minimizing my contact with him because I want him to forget, I want him to forget any of the stuff that he's doing here. You guys ever seen Cinema Paradiso, the movie? Anyways, that's my problem. I'm always singing. There's a scene where it's like, Alfredo tells the young kid to forget about everything, forget about it all. And it's almost kind of like the same thing. I want Jimmy to forget about all this stuff here, having to forget about all the problems and then the things that used to, quote unquote, put pressure on put weight on his shoulders. If he's going to start fresh and he's going to start anew, the best thing to do is to forget and to try and disconnect in some ways. It might be seen cruel, it might be seen cold, but I've seen it. I've done that for my own younger brother, and I want the same for Jimmy, because I do consider him a younger brother, and I want him to go over there to California and literally start as fresh as possible. Vicious, I get that, man. Just gotta do you. Look after yourself always. We're always gonna be here or there whenever you need the thick like fam. Hey, W's in the chat for Vish always being here. Happy in the chat as well. John, my guy, much love. Habibi says happy. Shouts out to you. Appreciate you. There's a video, speaking of Habibi, there's a video that I filmed with my good friends Alfardi and Ahmed. And it was a fun video. It involved us going to eat. And it is a new series that I kind of wanted to start, but it's been taking a while. And we go eat halal food. That's what we call. It can be from any part of the Middle East or parts of, I guess, Eastern Europe. I don't really know too much about the geography or the originations of the halal food. But here in New York, we call it halal food. The reason why I bring it up is because while we're eating, Ahmed teaches me some Arabic words. He teaches me shukran, and I can't remember the other ones, but I remember shukran. And I can't wait to share that with you guys. It was very fun to film. But yeah. Court Stars in the chat. What's going on, Court Star? He says, big up. I saw the title of the video and thought of Kanye shouting, "You ain't got the answers, Sway. You ain't got the answers." Brandon Lewis in the chat says, Papa John, wow, you already have snow? I can't wait for snow. Just hear those sleigh bells jingling, ring, ting. I love snow. Come on, it's lovely weather for a sleigh ride together with you. Stephanie Griffith says, John, are you feeling confident for us getting something from the Liverpool fixture? I think if we score, we won't lose. 100%. 100%. Liverpool, like I predicted, I said they weren't going to have an easy season. and they are starting to show a little bit of cracks. Obviously, it's still early days, but they are showing cracks. Don't forget, we got a long season to go, and my hair is all over the place right now. It's kind of crazy. Happy says, "Let's go, bro. Try Mansaf from Jordan." Okay, I will. Mansaf. I'm gonna Mansaf. I will keep a note of that. It's a national dish of Jordan and a festive meal of tender lamb cooked in a rich, tangy sauce made from fermented dried goat or sheep milk yogurt called jamid. Sounds fantastic. But J-Rod here says, do you think that burnout is spoken among minority communities? I know I come from a family that works till the wheels fall off, so I take many vacations whenever I can for my mental health. That is a great question and a great point, J-Rod. Mason Jules, thank you for following. Appreciate you. J-Rod, that's a good, interesting point that you bring up. I don't necessarily think I have the experience of not being a minority, so I guess I can speak from the perspective of being a minority, but I've seen it in my parents. You know, the idea of almost of a dare I say eternal burnout. I remember when I was young, I used to get very upset and emotional because I used to think about my parents a lot. You know, they used to work nonstop, multiple jobs, and they would look cooked every day, just absolutely exhausted. And I used to think to myself when I was younger, I was like, you know what? I don't give a damn what I do. I don't give a damn as long as I make a lot of money. That's all I care about, so that I can retire them early and have them enjoy and relax. And, you know, I used to think about that a lot when I was a kid. That was what, 20 years ago, 20 something, 25 years ago, however long it's been. And I thought about that recently because, yeah, maybe I don't want to get too personal, but it is one of those things that I've been thinking about, and I do feel bad for my parents, and I wish that I could be better for them and more for them, you know. But, you know, connecting back to me personally, I'm looking back at myself, and I used to think like, damn, you know, my parents worked so hard as immigrants so that they can provide for me, so that they can give me an education and an upbringing filled with love and whatever they could provide, given the limited resources and the limited financial, you know, freedoms. They gave me what they could give me and more, so that I can live a better life. And don't get me wrong. I don't want to. I want to preface this, and don't get me wrong. I am living a much, much more of a blessed life, and that is all thanks to my parents. Absolutely, 100%. But I do hear from, especially from my friends, a lot. You know, a lot of my close friends say that, you know, I get my work ethic from seeing my immigrant parents, especially my dad, and they almost say that I'm addicted to working. It's just like this fear element of not like just being able to relax. And don't get me wrong, I think that's the part I might disagree with a little bit. I do know how to relax, and I would love to just kind of, you know, relax a little bit. But I also am in the belief that if I continue to work hard doing what I love to do now, you know, and just putting in that effort, I do believe that at some point I will be rewarded in the sense that I will be able to rest. You know, and I wish that if there is a bit of, I don't regret anything, but if there's a wish that if I had the chance to do it again, I wish that I kind of, you know, jumped into doing what I love to do earlier. I was so afraid of making that jump, and I was so afraid of, you know, being bold. And yeah, creating content and doing stuff like this, it is bold in many ways because it takes a lot of effort. And I was afraid of doing those things when I was younger, which is why I kept it at an arm's distance and only did it, you know, as a hobby. But I wish that if I jumped into it a lot younger with the same kind of gusto that I have now, I feel like I'd be in a much better circumstance. But again, I don't want to sit here and sound like I'm crying about it, because I'm not. Absolutely not. I'm extremely blessed. I'm extremely grateful. It's just that I'm very tired. recently. Joe Chips Couch Potatoes. What's going on, Joe? He says, get tapping, people. Let's get John up to 5K likes. Up the Stretford Paddock, says Joe. Hey, big up yourself, Joe. Thank you for joining. Appreciate you, my man. And big up Stretford Paddock always. Katie says, from a non-minority family, it's a generation thing. It's not talked about unless it's with cousins. I also get my work ethic from my parents, and I have a harder time relaxing. I do it, but it's not like others. I tend to push myself. Yeah, and I think it's a lot of us too. You know, minority or majority or non-minority, whatever, whoever, wherever, whatever walk of life is. If you have that work mentality from your family and, you know, that kind of routine that you saw from your family, you know, it's what you were raised with. It's a very difficult thing. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to hear what you guys had to say about the idea of burnout, and obviously you guys are always, you know, showing me so much love, which I'm extremely grateful for. But I wanted to let you guys know before I left that I promise you, I'm not here not doing things and being lazy. You know, I'm working on content, doing what I need to do, but also taking care of myself because I don't want to lose control of that. You know, I always prided myself in having strong control of what I did, you know, in terms of my mental fortitude and all of these things. But, you know, as you saw in today's video, the past few years or years ago during the early days of the pandemic, it was a very difficult moment in my life, and I felt myself slipping, and I don't want to ever lose myself again, you know, in that sense. I always want to make sure that I'm clear in my head and able to maintain my strength and stability so that I can continue to provide and to do what I love to do, you know. So I want you guys to know that it's not that I'm just getting lazy or not doing it because I'm bored of it or whatever. It's just I literally have not had the time and the energy, and it is something that I am figuring out how to rebalance. So I want you guys to know that, you know, you guys are still obviously the number one priority in terms of my content. Joe Chip says, Filipino British here. The parents kept me grounded and made me realize importance of an honest day's work. Stay strong, brother. Exactly. Love that. You know, we get a lot of that work ethic and the learning the importance of, you know, working and making sure that you are able to keep yourself grounded and to work hard and to provide. And, you know, we get a lot of that from our parents. So thank you for the kind words, Joe Chips. Appreciate y'all. And appreciate all of you guys, for real, from the bottom of my heart. I just want to maybe end on this. Recently, maybe I can share the post here. Boom. SGD Sandeep says, nice background. Thank you. Appreciate that. I just want to maybe end today's stream talking about this, and then we'll end it here. I got to spend time with the great Benedict Wong. You know, I've been absolutely grateful and blessed to be supported and to be shown love by incredibly talented people. People like John Bradley West, you might know him from Game of Thrones as Samuel Tarly. People like, you know, Usain Bolt, the great, the GOAT, you know, so many incredible people in our world, in our society, have shown me so much love. And Benedict Wong has also been somebody that champions, you know, fellow Asians, and he does a lot for the Asian community. And recently I got to link up with him very briefly because he was throwing a DJ set at a bar in a very sort of exclusive space. It was open invite and a lot of people came. But I showed up a little bit earlier, and me and Benedict, we just kind of, you know, sat down and chopped it up. We just got to talking about life, and, you know, it was a very, very brief conversation, extremely brief, because we didn't have time. As Benedict obviously is he is Benedict Wong. So as you know, he is gonna get, you know, people coming up and, you know, speaking to him and his own connections and his own friends and things like that. So it was a brief conversation, but I can't even tell you how important and how incredible this was for me. You know, it was less than an hour, but that hour felt to me like eternity. Benedict Wong, as you may know, I talk about Eccles quite a bit, because Jay is from Eccles. Well, he wasn't born there, but he is from, like, I believe he is around Eccles now. So Benedict Wong is Eccles. Like, I believe he was born in Eccles. Like, he is Mancunian through and through. Same for Stanley Chow. Shout out Stanley. But this is somebody that worked so freaking hard, gave it his everything, took chances, took risks, and got to where he is now because he believed in himself. He believed in his craft and he believed in what he dreamed about. And, you know, I'm sure if I sit down with him and actually break down those parts of his life where it must have felt like hell, he'll probably tell me that it probably felt like hell. And I would love to actually hear about those moments. But he told me about the moments that, you know, turned things around. And for me, it was such an inspirational thing to hear. And Benedict Wong is a champion for fellow Asians. He's a champion for fellow minorities. He's a champion for so many people. And I just wanted to take this opportunity to thank Benedict because he is, and forever will have a special place in my heart. And then I just want to thank Benedict Wong for that. And it is a feeling that has been ingrained into my heart forever. I was like talking with Benedict, and then all of a sudden, like, I felt my soul come out of my body, and I was just like having an out of body experience, like just staring at Benedict, just like looking at this thing. And I was like sitting in a pub in New York, eating with him and drinking with him, hearing about his life and hearing about, you know, all of these incredible things. And I was like, what the hell is going on? What am I doing here? You know, it was incredible. It was incredible. And my dream is that I will be successful enough at some point to be able to provide resources and be of, even if it's a little, to be of help to Benedict and his causes. There is a thing that he was doing where he was taking selfies with people at the events, and, you know, he was giving them this chance to, like, hey, I'll take a selfie, but you donate to, you know, the cause specifically was to support ESCA, people impacted by racism and hate and things like that. So I donated to his cause. And I know people also donated as well. And there were people that were donating even though they weren't even at the event, and even they weren't even taking selfies with him, you know? So yeah, I just wanted to end on that by saying thank you to Benedict, and of course, thank you to you guys, you know? When the hell would I ever be sitting here in a pub in New York talking to Benedict? It wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for all of your support, you know? And I hope and pray that I will eventually get to a point where, you know, I can provide even better content for you guys, and to focus on content and to provide value to your lives, in the sense that, you know, if you swipe and you see my face show up, even if it's a 30-second video or even a 30-minute video, I hope that I can provide value, and that the time you spend watching my content was worth it, you know? And that's very important to me. I value time so much. I value money, of course, like any of us, but I value time more than anything, because time is one thing you can't get back. And the time that you guys spend watching my stuff, you guys spend with us here in the community, that matters so much to me. So I want to say thank you guys so much from the bottom of my heart. And on that note, I think we will wrap it up here. I don't know if maybe I can kind of hold on. Maybe I can show you guys. Let me see. How do I do this? Bum 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 bum. Oh, I can't. Dang it. Shoot, I can't. But yeah, I've been working on my backdrop. I kind of had to move things around a little bit because I wanted to frame the South Korea. I wanted the framed South Korea, the frame and the framed Igangin frame to go up on the wall. But I obviously had to shift and move things around a little bit, and it's not fully ready yet. So I thought we can use this. I love the whole aesthetic of it all, you know? And yeah, I'm going to leave it here for you guys. But that's it for me. Thank you guys so much for all of your love and support as always. It's been somewhat of a catch-up kind of stream today. I hope you guys enjoyed that, or I hope at least you guys found that entertaining to some degree. But yeah, that's it for me, guys. We'll be back. I'm not too sure if I'll be back tomorrow because I am going to be in Times Square. I'm going to be in Times Square with Borussia Dortmund. I can't remember exactly what the event is going to be about, but it is about football, and I think I might have to be running around kicking the ball around, which I'm not too sure about because my back is still hurting a bit, but I'm going to be there nonetheless. So if you guys are here in New York and you want to come hang out and chat, I'll be there around 6 o'clock-ish, maybe 5:30. The weather might be pretty crazy, but I'm going to be out there with the BVB fans. It's going to be fun. So yeah, like Vish says, hit like the stream, hit the notification bell, smash that subscribe button. If you want extra thick content, you know, look at the sub plus to join the Thick Like Fam subscription, which obviously needs to be improved significantly. That's another thing that we need to restructure again now that Jimmy's not here. There's 1,000 things to do and not enough time in the day. Damn it. But thank you for reminding me, Vish. Yes, I'm going to get to fixing that. I'm sorry I've been saying a lot of ums. So tired. What the hell's going on with my brain? I've been cooked. Joe Sheriff says, peace, brother. Hoping for future positive good vibes. Absolutely. Absolutely. Katie Marie says, this was absolutely amazing and absolutely so much fun. I'm glad to hear that. Thank you guys so much. But we'll be back soon. Don't you worry. We'll be back very, very soon. So thank you guys so much as always. Be happy, be healthy, take care of all your loved ones. And until next time, I will see you guys later.